We are pleased to welcome our 2015 Masters champion, Jordan Spieth, to the interview room. Jordan, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
You have one of the most impressive records here at the Masters, and you always seem to play really well. This is your 9th appearance here, but your first as a father. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To you and Annie on the birth of Samuel David Spieth, better known as Sammy.
That's right.
How time flies.
Yeah. He'll make an appearance tomorrow, assuming the weather holds up.
Nice. That would be awesome.
Part 3.
So how are you feeling, and why don't you walk us through your preparations for
Sure.
this Masters?
I feel great. Played the last 2 weeks leading into this week, which is what I've done every year. Struck the ball beautifully last week, never adjusted to the speeds of the greens. That's not normally an issue here. I never got the ball to the hole, and so you kind of have the opposite problem here. So I feel like my game's in a great spot. I feel like, I'm ready to contend. And, with the predicted forecast, and if we don't get too much rain, the course was as firm and fast as I'd ever seen it on a Monday yesterday. And so it ideally gets back to that with throw in some wind, and then you're going to really need to know the golf course, plot your way around really well. And I really like Michael's preparation and my own as far as being able to plot ourselves around, miss it in the right spots, and then take advantage when we're supposed to take advantage. So very confident this week, even if results over the last month or so haven't been, what I was looking for. I feel like my game's in a lot better place than even it was last year here. And so ready. I think I'm second to last on Thursday to get started. And, we get a good gauge of how the course is playing because of that, and kind of pick a game plan then.
That's great. With that, we're opening it up to questions. Dylan?
Given that you play in the weeks leading up to the Masters, do you make Augusta-specific changes to your preparation, or you just get your game in shape and show up and know that it fits pretty well?
Yeah, I think the first few years told me that, I went, the year I won, I lost in a playoff the week before, almost won in 14 and 16 after missing the cut the week. It's more so just, shake off kind of some rough edges and just sharpen things up as I play. I can't remember ever really making any equipment changes or working on more specific shots. I mean, the one shot that you need here that is a forced, significantly right to left moving shot off of 10 and 13. Drawing a 3-wood's always been, something I haven't had to add work into. My 3-wood's real low spinning right now. I cracked the face of one, so I've been trying to get one that spins a little more, that can turn more instead of just. So that would be something I'm still working on tomorrow, I think, as we head in. But other than that, it's just get adjusted to the speed of the greens, and there's not a whole lot. I think you have a lot of uneven lies, but you hit on a flat driving range, so there's not a other than playing a lot of holes, there's not a ton else to do, I don't think.
Jeff?
Jordan, your assessment of some of the changes that have taken place here on the golf course, and if any in particular impact your game, maybe on 11 or 15 or something like that.
I saw 11 for the first time today, and I really liked it. I was interested after what I'd been told about him. I talked to Justin after he came up, whatever that was last week. And so I was kind of a little skeptical, and then I saw it, and, it's more so a second shot hole now, which I think is great for that hole. And they made the miss to the right more severe, which just in turn makes that second shot just a little bit harder. It'd be interesting to see it into a significant west wind, because it's normally southeast here like we saw today, and I hit 8-iron in, even with the tee back, because of the way it funnels down and kind of feeds now. If you hit a really good drive, you actually, 8-iron in's a lot nicer than 4-iron into the wind into that green. So I think those holes that 11, 12, and then 15 are going to be, as key as they've ever been this week, given the forecast. I like the changes on 11 a lot. On 3, it's pretty severe on that left side now. Like, it was always severe. Now it's pretty wicked. Just a little bit of a change in the drop of the depth once the ball feeds over the green, but it's such a small area with firm surfaces, and no balls are staying up short now, and if it goes just over, you're left in a really tough position on trying to hit it firm with a putt to get up the slope off the green, and then it has to barely have any speed when it gets on. So it's almost like that Sunday pin was already so challenging, and now it's almost like an automatic layup with a wedge. So I think that's kind of a bit odd, just because it was already so difficult. What other change? 15, the tee being back. It was downwind today, so I hit it to a very similar spot to where we used to hit it, but obviously coming into that hole with a hybrid or a 5-wood is going to be a very different shot into that green. So I think you're going to see a lot more layup shots, and that's probably the hardest par 5 wedge shot in the world. So, especially to the left pin and really that back center. So I like them. Requires precision. It seems like as everyone started to hit the ball further and further on where the changes were made, it's forcing you to hit to where the course was designed to be playing from. So, I think back in the day, the guys hit 1-irons into 15, right? So if they could hit 1-iron into it, then we should be able to hit a hybrid into it.
Ann?
Hey, Jordan. I'm curious, how has your life changed as a dad now, and has it affected your practice schedule, your focus, anything on course?
I think I could speak for most of y'all in here, and you got a pretty good idea of how. It's amazing. I've very much enjoyed it. The first couple months were like what just happened, and the last couple have just been really fun to watch. Him look around and use his hands and just grow. And no, I've felt like I'm in the same routine I always have been when I'm at tournaments, and then when I get home, it's even more fun because you got him to hang around. So they've been traveling with me, and I've really enjoyed that. So first Masters should be a pretty fun day tomorrow if the weather permits, because that'll be a memory that obviously we'll always have.
Ignacio.
Hi, Jordan. Sorry to take you back to the past. Now
That could be a good or a bad thing, but you're apparently going into the bad route.
Now in perspective, with a bunch of years past, how much damage do you think it makes to you or to your career, the events of the 12th hole that Sunday?
I don't think. Since I've won, I don't feel any damage from it at this point. Ideally, I get in that situation again, and it makes me play the right shot, and I win the golf tournament because of it. So it was. I really don't. I'm back here, and for a couple years, I certainly thought about it and was questioned about it a lot, and that was only lasted a couple years, and now I think in 2018 is where I really just kind of got back on track. I made birdie on the hole on Sunday to get to maybe 6 under or something through 12, and ended up getting to 9 through 16, and it was just kind of that like moment where I was like, all right, I got this hole back, and so I don't think a whole lot of it. If I hadn't won the tournament, I think that it would, mean more, but it wasn't it was simply a mistake on, I hit the ball terrible that week. So it wasn't really that big of a, it was just a, surprise that I chunked a wedge shot or whatever, but I wasn't, I was missing everything short right. And that's really the only hole there. And 13, you can't really miss short right. So, I feel pretty good.
Thank you.
It doesn't even come into my head anymore.
Jim?
Hey, Jordan.
Sorry.
Having won here at such a young age, and knowing how hard it is to win here, how much has your level of appreciation increased with the passage of time of being a Masters champion?
I would say it's certainly, I think, the coolest accolade you can have as a golfer. So, and that continues to, I continue to feel that way year in and year out. I've had so many close finishes and top finishes that I'm honestly a little frustrated at not having more than one, just given I think I've finished in the top 3 like 5 or 6 times now, out of 8 starts. So in that position enough, I would have liked to, if you just take any tournament, I'd want to be, I want to have a couple wins at least, just given you're in that position enough. I don't feel that this tournament is the hardest to win by any means that we play all year. I think that, just based on the field size, who's in the field, how many, out of the top 50, out of the top 100 in the world versus, say, I think the players of the PGA might be a more difficult tournament as far as compared to the other players to win, but this has that added level of legacy to it. The tournament that we all grew up watching, our generation watching Tiger and make those putts to win, that really inspired us to want to. I mean, we'd go right out to the 18th green and with our buddies and pretend that we had that putt to win the Masters for a month after he did it, right? And so it's just the kind of, if you can almost dumb it down to, I'm just playing against these guys like I do every week, then, it makes you a little bit more comfortable. And then your original question to when you do win, it does kind of create that legacy.
Terry?
Yeah, Jordan, could you talk about the greens here and how they play into your strength as a putter? Justin was just in here saying out your unbelievable sense of speed, your imagination. I think it always seems to inspire you when you get here.
Yeah, I think so. They don't have to trick anything out. And I think more and more on the PGA Tour, we're seeing hole locations that are like, the whole slope's here and they find the one little crown, or they go on the crown of a ridge. And like here, you just don't see that very often. They're fast and firm, and you hit it to the right spot, you got a chance. And if you don't, you got to play defense. And I just really enjoy that. I think the speed of the greens, I enjoy faster greens. And then, using my imagination, like you said. But I've always worked really hard on speed control, and ever since I went to cross-handed back when I was maybe 14 or 15 years old, it helped me a lot from shorter range, but I needed to work on speed control. So for a lot of years, that was most of my work, and I think that's really helped at this tournament.
David?
Hi, Jordan. And same question, continuing with that lady. Playing as a dad, is there any big difference between playing as a boy and as a dad and husband? How eager it is for you? I want this trophy for my kid.
Well, I already have one that I could give to him if I wanted to.
That I know. The big one. I mean the big one.
No, I actually really haven't felt any difference on course in the tournaments that I've played. I think tomorrow will be a cool day, and it'll put things in perspective here, because I remember watching Webb with his 5 or 10 kids, how many kids he has, out on the par 3, and just, and obviously mine's not walking or running around or hitting any putts, but I think that'll be a really cool day tomorrow. But when I'm on the course, I haven't noticed any difference, other than maybe the first couple months I may have hit a 6 instead of a 9-iron because I had no idea what was going on. But I feel very normal, same preparation, and I feel like I always have on the course, which is, I think, a really good thing.
That's good to hear. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ryan?
Jordan, you led the field last week in strokes gained tee to green, but you were pretty frank in your assessment of how you putted. Just kind of curious your view on how you think you've putted this season, and besides speed control, how much has that been a point of emphasis so far this week?
It's been a point of emphasis. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do any of it today, but I worked pretty hard late into the evening with Cameron yesterday and seemed to clean some things up. We both agreed on what's kind of been off in the stroke and how to fix it. So it's just about getting enough reps to get comfortable doing it. It's felt good on the 18 holes that I've played. I've made some putts in the practice rounds, and a lot of times that's a good sign. I don't, this year, I would say I haven't played golf courses where I historically putt well in general, other than I do putt well at Pebble Beach and Kapalua. Kapalua, I struggled hitting it hard enough, just like last week. They both were very, very slow. And so I just have a hard time seeing, I don't read putts very well on slow greens. I see fall lines, dying in, and you just had to kind of point, aim, and shoot. And so I don't think I've been on, I'm more going to say I don't think I've been on surfaces that I've historically putted very well this year yet, and other than one or two events. And so as long as it feels free and as I'm stroking it and it feels like, I'm able to, hit my lines consistently, then I like, my chances as we move into tournaments where we're getting the greens that I have historically putted well on.
Not to get too nerdy, but can you just share what you guys stumbled upon as needing to be fixed?
No, I can't. Sorry.
David.
Jordan, regardless of form, is it safe to say that you expect to play well when you come to Augusta?
I'd be disappointed if I wasn't, if I didn't give myself a chance this weekend. Yeah, it'd be a disappointing week, I think. Having said that, who knows what weather conditions are going to bring and stuff like that. But I love this place. I feel good right now about my game. If I'm, like I said, if I'm just myself on these greens, then the rest of the game is coming around really nicely.
Is it almost inspiration that gives you that expectation, or is it the characteristics of the golf course itself?
I think it's just history. Like I said, I've come in here after missing the cut and had a chance on Sunday. I've come in here playing well and had a chance. 2017, I probably hit it the best, and it was one of my worst finishes. So I just kind of almost throw it all out the window and say, let's just plot the way around that we always do and not try and get too cute, wait for your chances. And a lot of it has to do with having a good idea of how this course is going to play, because I've played it where 20 under and 18 under have won, and I've played it where 5 under or 6 under has won. So, and you just, certain holes and certain shots play totally different, and you just have to be aware of that ahead of time. And so I think going off late Thursday after seeing whatever this storm's going to bring, and tomorrow if we get more rain, I think that'll tell us a lot, because if it was going to play anything like yesterday with any wind, it was going to get awfully borderline unplayable in a way. I mean, it was very firm, fast, and glassy, and obviously it will never get unplayable here because they have the means and the technology to make sure it's just how they want it. But it would be very, very challenging.
Brentley.
You've known Scottie for, since he was probably in middle school. How does his approach to the game and his approach to life, how do you think that will serve him well as he prepares to compete as the #1 ranked player in the world?
I think I've known Scottie since he was 8, and I think it'll serve him really well. He's just very happy-go-lucky. He's a competitor on the course, but he's so light. Like, he gets along with everybody. I think that he just looks at that as the label as something that's really cool, but just loves to play golf. And I think that given that being his personality versus it being like his desire to be just #1 in the world and like just get there, and that's what he wanted to do. I've never asked him, but off of how I know him, I think it was just one of those, I wanted to win this match, then I wanted to win this match. And he probably I don't even know if he knew that he could get to #1 in the world at the end. I think it's just more, he just loves playing the game, and he's playing it better than anybody else right now.
John.
Jordan, many of us here, this is the first one for a couple of years. We're struck by different changes. How does it seem to you?
In the changes of the course specifically or the Masters?
No, but just being back here after 2 years when us weren't here.
I think last year on the weekend felt pretty normal. 2020, the November one was very, very weird. Last year felt pretty normal. You didn't have the big bleachers off 15, 16. But come the weekend in the last, 4 or 5 groups, there were still, your amphitheater setting crowds and stuff like that. But yesterday I was walking down number 2, and when you kind of get to where that bunker is off the tee and you take a turn, that's where I first noticed it. I was like, wow, this is unlike any other Monday throughout the year. It was just however many deep everywhere you looked, every hole, and it was like, this feels like the Masters.
Luke.
Hi, John. You said your game is in great shape. You're hitting the ball really well. I'm just curious what specifically is clicking in your golf swing right now.
Yeah, it's still not. I'm still kind of pushing the agenda back to kind of the way my DNA of the way I really used to swing the club. And so I'm still having to rehearse it and still really feeling, I would say, 200% of something that's only really moving it an inch at a time. But it's closer and closer. And as it gets closer and closer, I just feel very slotted, very free through the ball. I kind of feel comfortable hitting a certain shot. If I'm uncomfortable when I walk up to the tee, I can play a certain shot that takes that away under pressure. And then I think the difference maybe from last year at this time or is just in kind of finesse shots, taking 5 to 8 yards off of a club and still feeling comfortable hitting any shot. So just trying to get all the tools back. I mean, I like to work the ball both ways. Could be a blessing and a curse sometimes, right? I mean, when it's on, you can get at any pin, but if it's a little off, then you got to know how, what to go to make sure you're going to still, play a nice round of golf. So I'm just trying to structure it like it used to be, and it's getting closer. I'm making a lot better swings now that are getting more slotted, allowing me to feel like I'm not using my hands and I'm able to just hit it with my pivot, hit it with my body.
Ryan.
You mentioned at the start about being pleased with Michael's preparation. Just curious, what does that process look like, and how much has his expertise kind of contributed to your success here?
I mean, he absolutely loves this place, and because of that, he just wants to spend sunrise to sunset out here. And I mean, his yardage book, I just told him today, since we got new yardage books this year with the changes of the holes, I want to transfer a lot of his straights. The first few years, I worked a lot with him on some pins on straights, finding the fall lines to different pins, and he's got pretty much every pin location a fall line relative to a tree we're just going to assume that Augusta National has not moved some of these giant trees. Sometimes they change locations, but scoreboards to whatever it may be. And I looked in his book when I asked him this, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can even get all this information down. So it's he works so hard this week. He's done a great job in the early years of reaching out to some local caddies, Carl Jackson being one, but some of the local guys that are here all the time. And then from there, we've got a lot of experience out here, certain putts, where we'll be like, hey, that actually, that went a little this way. So the combination of the work he's put in with the experiences we've had means he's got, I think, better information than anybody else this week.
Josh.
You mentioned when you came in here the number of people that were in here for Tiger. Is there anything to the idea that all the attention he's getting this week might help you and JT and Scottie just kind of prepare and fly under the radar early on?
I don't even think I'm a top 10 odds, so I didn't feel pressure anyways. I feel this. I think I feel the same coming in at number 1 or 2 in the world as I do where I'm at and where I did 2-3 years ago outside the top 50. So I don't. I don't think so personally. I mean, I put enough pressure on myself to want to go out and compete. It's my favorite tournament, so I want to play well, and I think him playing with being healthy and playing and potentially playing well is just, in general, no matter where it is, just so good for the game of golf and all of us. And obviously, no stage is brighter than it is this week. So he seems to be moving great, in great spirits, and it's amazing if you think about where he was at, a year ago to now. I don't know how many people, if anybody, could be out here on this, and this is not an easy walk. So to be out here, and not to throw his age in the mix, but I don't think that helps much at all for that kind of recovery. But is anybody surprised?
When did you first start hearing that he might play, and what does it mean to you as a guy who grew up watching him play here?
I think after the accident, based on the information I had heard, I would have just been happy to hear that he could walk with Charlie during his rounds at any point in time. I'd never even really thought about him playing golf again after everything he's been through, injuries over the years and such. He already had his comeback in 2019, but I mean, how many comebacks has he had? So when I first heard he was, I don't remember when it was, it would have been late last year into the new year maybe, that he could swing a club, I mean, whenever he posted, I was very surprised and amazed at the ability to do that, and clearly that's what he wants to do, is come back and play.
Last two, Hiromi and then Jeff.
About tonight's Champions Dinner, did you have a chance to see the menu?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What did you think about the menu, and which item are you most excited for?
I'm going to have seconds of all of it. I'm very excited. I played the Dunlop Phoenix in Miyazaki back in 2014, and I might make a lot of people mad in the state of Texas, but it's the best beef I've ever had. And to be serving that tonight on top of miso cod and sushi to starts, I'm very, very excited. I saw it today, and I had no idea what route he was going to go, and I'm excited to shake his hand and say thank you at the end of the night. So
thank you.
Might have to get carted off. Yeah.
Jeff.
I was going to ask a Champions Dinner question on the menu front. What else about the dinner do you look forward to besides a menu like that?
Stories that come up, yeah. I'm a little interested to see the dynamic with Mr. Crenshaw and Hideki at the head of the table. And, Hideki, I think his English has gotten a lot better, but I don't think it's like speak in front of everybody in English. But I'm not sure. We've always had a great relationship, myself and Hideki, although, short each time just with the language barrier. But, and then, Mr. Crenshaw is our host, and we'll be obviously talking about Hideki's win and certain milestones of people there. But I think that dynamic will be pretty fun to watch at the head of the table.